microbeads found in many cosmetics and toiletries to be banned because they're polluting our seas and killing marine life. The tiny plastic balls are commonly used in facial and body scrubs. They are already being phased out in the United States, and today a group of MPs are calling for the government here to outlaw them too. Well, in a moment we'll speak to marine biologist Dr. Laura Foster, but first we sent our reporter Leslie to buy some containing the microbeads. Hey Leslie, you've come back with quite a stash. Tell us what you've got.
This is just a tiny handful of the 80 or so products out there that contain these tiny plastic microbeads, and you'll know what I mean. The small abrasive beads in a lot of exfoliating creams and so on. And supposedly,
put some on my hand so we can show it, because you can see them, can't you?
Yeah,
clearly
you can
in
see
some
them.
products.
You can see them, just the tiny little, well, in this one blue
dots, yeah.
And supposedly, if you are very thorough at exfoliating in the shower, you can release as many as 100,000 of these tiny plastic beads into the sea.
And is it always clear? It's clear in this product, obviously.
Well, it isn't always clear, and it isn't always clear even when you can see them.
Right.
Some products like this one label very clearly that they've got microbeads in them. Others, you have to look at the tiny, tiny small print on the back. Polythene is one of the most common ingredients of microbeads, so you can see it labelled on the tiny, tiny back. But you know, some products are maybe a little bit misleading. I mean, for example, the toothpaste we see here says it's got bicarbonate of soda in it, so you'd think that was the abrasive ingredient.
A natural abrasive ingredient. Yeah.
Natural. A lot of the products say they've got coconut, almond, things like that you would assume are natural, but actually, if you look closely, they've also got the polythene in them.
Okay, so Laura, you are obviously concerned about the impact of the plastic on the marine environment. What are your concerns?
So our concerns are really that, you know, people are buying these products, they don't realise what they're buying, they're using them, and then that microplastics is ending up in the ocean, and that's being ingested by marine organisms.
How much plastic do you think there is in the ocean?
So we know that, you know, there's millions of tons being released into the ocean and over the year, and I think that's really important. And this is a really highly preventable problem, and that's what, you know, the report is saying is, you know, we can do something about this. They don't have to be in these products. So
the concern is obviously that fish are consuming this. What are the fears about the impact on fish of consuming this, and presumably in the end as well on consumers of consuming those fish?
Yes, so we already know that consuming sort of microplastics has a negative impact in terms of reproduction, in terms of growth size, things like that. As you can imagine, you know, they're ingesting this, and you've got the situation where simply that they are taking this in, they're feeling full, for example, but it's unfortunately not quite even as simple as that. Unfortunately, this sort of allows certain chemicals to be concentrated on these microplastics, and, you know, that has potentially added health problems as well.
And Leslie, if it's causing potential health problems for fish, what's it potentially doing to us when we're putting stuff on our faces or consuming or whatever?
We don't know, and to be fair, there hasn't been any proper research on the harm that it could do us, but there is a general international concern actually that we have way too much plastic in our oceans, that it isn't good for anyone. You mentioned the United States phasing it out, Europe as well looking for a ban, and that's what this report today is calling for, a reduction in this sort of plastic.
It'll be, if it is all phased out, the wholesale change, won't it, in the products that we've got used to?
Well, it is interesting because all these companies, for example, we're seeing now in front of us, say that they are working to phase it out, and that would be in line with the US ban. So by 2017, maybe 2020 at the latest, they will be phasing it out. They say, and I know Laura may disagree with that, but they say it takes time to find and test alternative ingredients that they would use. It is interesting though, this product here, the Clinique product, the older versions of this have microbeads. The newer versions now coming into our stores don't. So manufacturers are starting at least to phase out and change the ingredients.
Before microbeads came along, there were products and they were formulated.
Coconut.
Yes. And how long has this been an issue, Laura? It's become a sort of popularly known issue quite recently, but how long have these products been around and polluting?
So the first kind of record we think is sort of 1974, but really in the last sort of 10 years where it's really sort of picked up the pace of, and if we look at sort of, this is from an average kind of, bottle, and you can just see how many, thousands upon thousands of bits of microplastic that you can get, in a single. So I think this is really important, and it's certainly something that, as a Marine Conservation Society, we've been really pushing to see, first we all called for a voluntary ban, we've seen that hasn't worked, and now we've been pushing for, actually we want to see legislation changes.
Just actually had a statement through from Arm & Hammer which says it's been proactively working towards a new formulation that does not contain polyethylene microbeads, which will replace the current product in December 2016. Their research and development team have been working on an effective, safe and environmentally kind alternative which will deliver the high standards of results that their loyal customers expect from the range of products. That's, we were talking about the Arm & Hammer toothpaste, which has got bicarbon.
And all of these manufacturers say they are working on it and they are phasing it out. It just won't come into force. A lot of them is coming into force by 2017. They won't be there anymore. As I say, some products a bit sooner. But
so, Laura, are you reassured that at least it is an issue that's being looked at and the manufacturers are starting to deal with it?
I think one of the challenges is, how they define sort of, we talk about sort of microbeads, and really what we want to talk about is microplastic. So microbeads can sometimes only mean one type of plastic, and what we want to do is it covers all types of microplastics, regardless of the type of product. So, when we first started this project with Fauna and Flora International, looking at UK retailers, we were very much focusing on sort of the scrubs. Then we started to realise that they were in things like deodorants, and we started to realise that actually, we need to look at a range of products. So now we started looking at deodorants. Shaving foam, for instance, has got PTFE, better known by its trade name as Teflon. We also know that sort of flushable wet wipes have plastic in them. So a whole range of products that people haven't realised. A lot of people are sort of focused on this microbeads, microplastic, which is great.
All right, thank you very much, Laura and Leslie. Thank you very much. Coming up, we're going to have all the latest on the earthquake that has hit central Italy. Do stay with us for the very latest now.